we thought that if we went out there and with a message that was slightly sort of in your face, we could get a bit of coverage in some of the magazines and possibly some of the papers and on TV. So the death of the bookie campaign was what came from that. Yeah, we got the front page of the Sunday Times business section, which was a pretty good coup for us. We would have had some coverage on London Tonight, but as luck would have it, there was an internet funeral company who had a funeral procession at the same time as us, and it was complete coincidence because no one had ever had a full funeral procession as far as I know in London. But they had very bad press for doing what they did. It was something like Funerals for You or something like that. And I think they've disappeared without trace. I've never heard of them since. But we decided that we couldn't afford to have our fake funeral at the same time as they had their fake funeral, given the sort of publicity. So we pulled that, which was bad news because it was quite expensive. So it was a lot of our marketing budget just disappeared. But we did get the piece in the Sunday Times, which was very good, and it was spotted by a lot of people. So it got us off to just a little head start. My focus was always just, head down, build as good a product as you can, innovate, come up with the right product, build a business, as fast as you can, to grab as much land as you can, in what was possibly a land grab situation. So in that sense, I hadn't ever focused on them before, so I didn't need anything to focus on now. And I don't think businesses should be focusing on their competitors, because I think that's the sort of negative energy that you don't necessarily need. I think you should draw on positive energy of just trying to deliver the best possible product for your customers and thinking about them. So when you've competed with somebody for so long, it's actually very difficult to merge with them because in your head they are the epitome of all evil. And for me, that's what Flutter were. I mean, we never met with them. We always saw them as potentially, we always saw them as the enemy, the company that could finish us off, the threat to our business. And I think, if like a good boxer in the ring, you train yourself to hate your opponent. And I think we hated Flutter really because they were our opponent. And then suddenly we've merged with this company who we've just seen as our sort of most bitter enemy. And it was actually quite difficult to make the merger happen and then sort of embrace them as friends. But I mean, only for a very, very short time, because almost immediately we had met them and you sort of realised that they have the same thoughts as you and they have the same ambitions as you and they're very similar people to you. And actually, I got on incredibly well with the Flutter guys almost right from the start, which wasn't what I was expecting. I'm more interested in buying software than buying business. So I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation now, and I think some of that probably won't work. I think that if you looked at every merger and takeover in the history of time, I think you would find the vast majority of them had been unsuccessful. Our merger with Flutter was extremely successful, but we were the only two players in the marketplace. We were potentially going to cut each other's throats if we didn't do something about it. The whole internet betting marketplace is much bigger. So I don't think there are many situations that are quite like that. I think there's a lot of potential issues with merging with another company of about the same size and bringing together two cultures which might be very, very different. And I think if you're going to do that, you need to have a good reason. And I sort of suspect that there's going to be a lot of mergers that are going to occur. Yes, for good reason, because you'll find that one of the companies, or perhaps even both companies, have got a serious cash problem. I think the right reasons should be different to that. They should be, we can work together. There's obvious economies of scale bringing these two companies together, and we believe we can work together as a team. We can come together as a company and extract the best value from the combined management team. And I suspect we'll see some mergers which will go badly. I think there's pressure on to do mergers now. I think there is potentially money out there to back people to merge companies. yeah, I mean, there'll be mistakes made. And I think David, who is our current CEO, I think he was somebody who I saw as very strong operationally. I mean, that's what he had been before he was our COO. And it's kind of one of those businesses where if you look after the inner workings of the business, the rest of it should come. And okay, that doesn't include the sort of the marketing and so on and so forth. But we were never a business that was dependent on its ability to operate in the wider marketplace. So provided we operated well in designing and producing our own product, we were going to be successful. And I think David had that focus. David was also a technology guy, and Stephen wasn't. And I think that just brings a different sort of mindset. He had the a very American internety mindset, which I think was good for us, because I don't think we had that. I think that cost us in the early days. I think that was the piece that was lacking in the early part of the company. Was you had a bunch of guys who were quite sort of positive, ambitious, pushing forward with a lot of good ideas, but we didn't have any real corporate expertise. And I think David brought that along. So he's taken the company and he's given it real sort of scope and shape, and he's corporatized it in a slightly American way. Not that I think he's very sympathetic to the cultural differences over here, but he does bring that expertise with him. I think it's expertise that we needed and have benefited from. My role in the business now is very arm's length. I attend board meetings, I attend strategy meetings, I attend the occasional product away days. I care deeply about the business, but I've distanced myself from it to get on with other things in my life, really. And because I think the business needs to get away from me. I mean, I don't think good corporate entity should have people who are too big, sort of floating around. And I don't fit very well into those sorts of businesses anyway. So I've sort of stood back, happily stood back, and I'm there. I meet with David regularly. We just chat. We just talk about anything and everything. And I lead certain things in sort of certain strategy away days, but nothing within the company. And they just sort of report to me, and I just pick up all the sort of bits and pieces of what's going on, just as a normal board member. I think I had a much wider ownership in the company at one stage, in the sort of operational areas to some extent, and also in marketing I was pretty heavily involved. But product was always my big thing, having built the first version of the site and having designed it. And I think I still have a big say in that, and I'm always close to the senior members of the product team. That said, the company churns over so fast that actually one quickly becomes detached from any team, really. And I go in these days and I find that the vast majority of people I don't even know them, which is a bit terrifying. So I'll probably look to spend a bit more time at the company in the next few months. But yeah, I mean, I am more and more distant figure. I mean, what I want to do is to know that the company has got good people at all levels, and that it doesn't need me. I mean, my whole exercise for years has been to make myself completely redundant, not because I want to get away from it, but because philosophically I believe in companies that are not dependent on big people, but just are good, solid working machines.